Hi internet friends, welcome to the channel. In today's video we are going to be doing a first impressions review on this foundation from Rare Beauty. If you guys are new to the channel, my name is Ken, also known as MrKenDenis. Hit the subscribe button if you guys haven't already, and without further ado, let's dive right into this video. Okay, so the Rare Beauty foundation, so Selena Gomez's makeup brand, I believe so. I did not get my hands on this as soon as the brand dropped here in Australia, just because I had other priorities of things to review and whatnot, but I finally got my hands on it and I have not tried it, hence why we're doing a first impressions review. Now I actually don't know much about this foundation, I just knew that I had to review it because a lot of my friends and a lot of people that I follow seem to rave about it. So the shade I have got here is 210N, and for your reference I use NC30 from MAC. I have all the other foundations that I use listed down in the description box down below for you guys, and those are pretty close matches to NC30 or foundations that I can wear. Obviously you go to Sephora's website, they have I think a Finder app on their website so you guys can kind of like shade match, but yeah, if you guys want a live demonstration, it's me. If you guys are new to my channel, I always like to go through the promises or like what the benefits are with a particular product. I tell you guys what I'm looking for so you guys know whether or not it's going to align with your wants and needs. Therefore, you know if this video is relevant to you or not. Okay, so let's go start off first with what it says on here. It says an innovative, long-lasting foundation that combines the lightweight feel of a serum with a buildable medium coverage for truly breathable, layerable wear. Oh, cool. I actually thought because it was a serum it was going to be a light coverage foundation, so I am going to be really scrutinizing whether or not this is going to be a medium buildable coverage foundation. Other things to note: it's cruelty-free, vegan, paraben-free, suitable for sensitive skin, dermatologist tested, non-comedogenic, which are all pretty good things. As you guys can see, I don't have any makeup on my skin. I've got some moisturizer, but I will be applying this. This is the MAC Strobe Cream. This one's the pink light version. I'm just going to use this as a primer all over the skin. Actually, in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have used pink light just because it does have sort of like a pink iridescence. Oh well, I'm really into like really dewy skin at the moment, so let's just see how this goes. So I am going to do a split test as well. I'm going to be using brush on this side, I'll be using sponge on this side for the application bit so that we can see if there's any difference in coverage. To tell you guys a little bit about my skin, I have normal to oily skin. I do have dry patches at the moment just because I am using some retinol so around my mouth and whatnot. 30 years old, male, has fine lines, wrinkles, enlarged pores, the whole 9 yards essentially. And again, if you guys are new to me, I do use an orange colour corrector to colour correct my 5 o'clock shadow because I am not a fan of my 5 o'clock shadow. So Dragon Beauty. As you guys can see, I don't have perfect skin. I do have some marks. I've got a sunspot there. I've got an acne mark still healing, and then obviously I've got my 5 o'clock shadow with the orange colour corrector to contend with. Also got some beauty marks. So you guys can really see how this is going to work. You guys are definitely going to see how well this product is going to be able to cover everything. I don't expect super flawless skin. I just want everything to be a little bit more even and just a little bit flawless, not super flawless, if that makes sense, not like Facetune or anything. Okay, so again, this is the packaging. I actually thought this was a dropper because of this circular thing on top. Apparently not. It's kind of like a doe foot applicator in terms of its application. It kind of reminds me of a foundation from Clinique, if you guys are familiar with that, or if you guys have Tarte Shape Tape, very sort of like similar applicator. If you guys are wondering, I'm also filming something on Instagram, which is why I'm looking off to the side. I've got my phone there. Yes, I think I want to do as close as possible equal amounts. That way we can see how much coverage I can get from this. So again, brush on this side. I used this to apply my primer. So it shouldn't technically be absorbing too much of the product. Okay, first thoughts, colour match is actually pretty good. I'm honestly a bit skeptical whenever I use those colour matching sort of chart things, just because I don't feel like they're super accurate. With the amount of foundation I've just applied, as you guys can see, was enough to really cover that. The remainder product on my brush, not really enough to cover that, as you guys can see, like barely. I think one layer of that is really nice. I have to say, I am actually quite liking the look of it. It's very natural, very fresh looking, but definitely more on the light side of things. So I'll be interested to see how it goes in terms of building up the coverage. Okay, now we're going to use a beauty sponge on this side. Okay, initial thoughts with the sponge. Surprised again. I actually thought, being that it's sort of like a serum foundation, my sponge was going to absorb so much more of it. I mean, it has, but there's still a decent amount of coverage and product on my skin. Again, not nearly enough to really give me any coverage for this. So again, we'll see how well this goes in terms of building, but in terms of coverage, I can definitely tell that this side has definitely more product and more coverage, whereas this side, it's very light. It's definitely giving me light coverage foundation vibes at this stage. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. Let's build it up to the second layer. Okay, so now I'm doing just 3 swipes on that side. Let's see how that goes. And I'm now really just going to concentrate on the 5 o'clock shadow, because I think the rest of it's not too bad. Like, I think coverage wise there, it's fine. And definitely at this stage, I can definitely feel that it's more of a wet foundation, if that makes sense. I know it's a liquid foundation, but you know what I mean? Like, it's definitely more runny, but not in the sense of very liquidy. It's hard to say. Like, it feels like it's an oil. That's what I'm trying to say. It feels more like an oil foundation, which makes sense being that it is a serum. So I am intentionally avoiding my eyes because I am going to be doing eyeshadow work in a second, and I want to use my concealer for that. Okay, that is the second layer, and I am actually quite impressed. Normally when a foundation is very light coverage, second layer just adds a touch more coverage, maybe 3-4 layers, then I can be quite satisfied. But this is actually really nice. It's giving me almost full coverage vibes, which again, very, very surprised. I actually have not watched any reviews of this product. Like I said, I only really saw people mentioning it and raving about it, but never really watched a review. So this is my genuine reaction to it. I am very, very surprised, pleasantly surprised actually. Okay, so let's move on to the other side and let's see if I can achieve the same amount of coverage. Actually, now that I think about it, this is very reminiscent of that Clinique foundation. I will leave a photo or the name on the screen. Very, very similar. I mean, like, the formula is quite similar from memory. I think that one was definitely a lot more fuller coverage compared to this, but had a very similar sort of like consistency, like a very serum-like consistency. So it almost felt like you were applying skincare and it had coverage, if that makes sense. Okay, 2 layers of the foundation, and actually not too bad, not too bad. I can still kind of see the 5 o'clock shadow orange colour corrector peeking through, which I kind of expected. Again, with sort of like lighter coverage foundations, that's normally the case, whereas on this side with the brush, it's actually pretty good. Yeah, I mean, it's not too bad. I think I just need a little bit more foundation on this side just to cover up that colour corrector, and then I think we're pretty much good to go with this. So yeah, really impressed with this. And it doesn't feel very heavy on the skin, I will give it that. Usually when a foundation is sort of like a serum or like an oilier sort of like consistency, it will feel quite heavy, and you definitely feel layers and you feel like you just have a lot of product on your skin, essentially what I'm trying to say. Well, this just feels nice and light. So sponge side, 2.5 layers, brush side, 2 layers, pretty good coverage. Now, as you guys saw, I had a couple of red marks on my face, my acne mark, my sunspot. I can still see the sunspot peeking through and the acne mark just because they are quite dark. But I don't think anyone would really notice it, to be honest. Obviously I had the beauty mark there and stuff. My larger beauty marks there. Still kind of see them, which is normal. That's what you normally expect with most foundations anyway, regardless of coverage, but I think it's okay. Okay, so in terms of appearance on the skin, which do I prefer? I would have to go with the sponge, even though I've had to use a little bit more product to achieve the same amount of coverage. I always find that I like the look of a sponge. I always feel like it just sits nicer on the skin, whereas with the brush sometimes there's a bit of streaking and it just looks like it's just sitting on the skin. That's just my personal preference, and that's just how makeup sits on my skin. That's why I prefer that. But streaking actually isn't too bad. I mean, there's probably the tiniest bit of streaking here on my cheeks, which I normally find anywhere sort of like curving. There's always sort of like brush marks, but the rest of the skin's not too bad. It just looks like normal foundation, really. Alright, so the rest of the makeup is on and this is what it looks like. So the only part that doesn't have so much other product on top of it is probably this bit here, which only has obviously primer, foundation and powder. Everywhere else has got other products, so ignore that. But I think it looks pretty good. As you guys can see, you can probably still see some of the acne marks peeking through. Some of that discoloration, again, doesn't really bother me that much, but I just thought I'd point that out if that is something that you're looking for in the foundation. Obviously my beauty marks are still there, they're just not fully covered. The redness is fine, colour correction is covered nicely. Obviously you can kind of still see my 5 o'clock shadow peeking through. That's just something I've been dealing with, but again, things that I need to point out so you guys can decide whether or not this is going to be a foundation for you. But otherwise, what it looks like on the skin, I'm actually pretty happy. It's sitting really nicely. I will sort of like point out around here on my nose with the brush. I do feel like the foundation isn't sitting right. I feel like it's kind of like almost broken apart. Whereas on the other side with the sponge, it's looking pretty good still. So I think otherwise that's pretty much my only sort of like concern with the brush side. Overall, it looks pretty good, really nice. The skin just looks nice. I'm really liking this. I know I did use sort of like a dewy illuminating sort of primer, but I do feel like even without it, this foundation would still be really nice and hydrating and luminous. Like I said, I definitely felt like I needed to set that with powder. So yeah, those are my first thoughts and impressions on the brand. Let me know what you guys think about it, if you guys have tried it out, if you guys have any other recommendations and any requests you guys want me to try out, let me know down in the comment box down below. And that is pretty much it for me, guys. If you guys would like to see more of me, head over to my Instagram. All my other social media will be linked down in the description box down below. And yeah, don't forget to check out all my other videos that I will have on the end card if you guys would like to see more of me and my other reviews. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!